Hello everyone, so I'm here today to do a review of the Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie, and this is a very dense and complex book. It follows mainly two characters, Gabriel and Saladin, and we get a lot of backstory at the beginning. I think the first 100 pages are backstory about them, and then there is a hijacking of a plane, and they fell into the sea, and both of them survive, but one of them becomes the archangel Gabriel, like the Bible Korah, Gabriel, and Saladin becomes a demon with like physical attributes as well of a demon, and they are both washed into the coast of the UK, and they have to live with their own personalities now. And that's kind of like the beginning, but there's so much more to it. There's so many like little stories within stories. There's so many characters. The characters change name, so it's really difficult to follow. Also, there is a lot of themes. There is themes of immigration, like when they come to the UK. There is themes of what's good and bad with religion, obviously, especially Islam, and I think that it was, for me, it was so much. I couldn't absorb, I couldn't comprehend everything. So I think for me, this is one of those books that you have to read several times before you are able to appreciate, even like begin to appreciate what it's doing, especially if you are not from the culture, because those cultural references, you'll need more time to get them. And I have to say also, I'm not a person that particularly Googles things if they don't know the cultural context, because I found in the past that if I Google cultural references, it's still very difficult to understand cultural references, even if you kind of know a little bit more about them. Like, you do not really comprehend the importance of certain things just by reading a Wikipedia article about it. So I prefer to go with the flow, and try to get absorbed in the story, and then I think if I read enough stories from a certain place, I will get used to which things are important and which things are culturally relevant. So that's why I normally don't Google things unless it's something like, oh, where is this place, or things like that, but not like the cultural aspects of it. So maybe that's also my fault. But yeah, I thought that it felt like an accomplishment. I appreciated the book a lot. I don't think I enjoyed the reading experience just because it was so challenging, and it was so so labor intensive. It took me a month to read this book, which granted is like more than 500 pages, but still a month is quite a lot for me. And it's because it was just so dense, and I was so lost at so many points. And I kept reading reviews and trying to find out like what other people felt, and I think a lot of people felt the same way as I did. Like, it's very lost, but the moments that you understand and the moments you connect to the book, they're really good. The writing is really good, and again, like, there are so many themes and so deeply explained and so well thought out, that when you find those moments, it's really profound. But it's just like the surrounding things that you don't understand worn you down at the end. So yeah, that's my experience with the book. I don't know if this is even a review. It's just, I think I would need to read it a couple more times to fully understand what was going on in all of the places, and I admire the people that can do that. But yeah, for me, as a more casual reader, this was very challenging. And again, challenging doesn't mean bad, and I'm glad I read it, but it's just a very heavy book, and I think it's important to get into it with that aspect, knowing that aspect of the book. With that said, again, like, I really appreciated especially the discussions about immigration. I know that the discussions about religion are obviously very sensitive in this book, because if you don't know Salman Rushdie there was a fatwa issued against him by the Islamic Republic of Iran, I think, because of the things that he explores in this book. And he was recently, like a couple of months ago, he was stabbed by someone that was following that fatwa. And even though he has survived, he has lost the use of an eye and an arm, I believe. So it is a very controversial book in the terms of the religious stuff. I personally am not a religious person. I've never been interested in exploring religion that much. So I'm not sure I understood why I was so offensive about this book, but I guess there are things that he says that are not very respectful about religion, and the whole point of the book is that when you have the good and the bad in Gabriel and Saladin, and at the end you realize that it's not that clear cut. I don't know if that's why they were offended, but he has such a sarcastic and such a not disrespect for religion, because I think he grew up Muslim and his family is still Muslim, so he doesn't disrespect Muslim people, but he does point out certain inconsistencies and certain nonsensical things about religion. I think all religions have inconsistencies, and the fact that this book is highlighting that, I think that's why it was so offensive to some people. And I respect that. I mean, I think that if you are offended by it, I think it's fine. I get offended by other books that other people find fine. I just don't think that taking your personal offense into action by trying to limit the expression of the author and the life of the author, it's the right way to go. I think that you can be offended and, I don't know, write another book contradicting what this is saying, but I don't think that we should try to stop people from saying things that offend us in that way, especially if it's like coming from a place of knowledge, because Salman Rushdie was a Muslim and he does have that knowledge on the whole religion. So yeah, that's my view on the fatwa, but I'm digressing now. But yeah, would I recommend? I think to certain people. I think if you like a challenging read and you come into it knowing that it's going to be challenging and it's going to go over your head most of the time, I think you can give it a try. But if you want a clear-cut story, I don't think this is the book for you. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Satanic Verses. I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you thought, if you read it or if you want to read it, or what you think about the fatwa and the freedom of speech and freedom of writers to write whatever they want. And until next video, bye!